Scott Waters. Welcome to another edition of What's Spinning. This edition of What's Spinning is going to be another contest entry. Actually, it's not so much that I care about entering these contests, but some of these contests just have cool questions, you know, and that's kind of what I thought about this one. This is Black Star Vinyl, and I always want to say Black Star Riders. Black Star Vinyl, who is a vinyl community member, a newer guy. He's into metal and posts a lot on my videos, so I started watching his, and he came up with this great idea. He wanted to see albums from bands that were one and done, you know, one album and done, or maybe even one song and done, whatever. So I came up with a big giant list of some that I actually like, one and dones, and that's what I'm going to do here. So this is the GREEDIES. So who are the GREEDIES? They're a punk band. I'm not a huge punk fan, but I do like some punk. But this band is actually made up of guys from the Sex Pistols and guys from Thin Lizzy. So you've got 2 Sex Pistols guys here and 3 Thin Lizzy members. And basically this is a one-time thing that they did. A Merry Jingle. It's a Christmas EP, punk rock Christmas EP. And you've got, let's see, a Merry Jingle on one side and a Merry Jangle on the other. And yeah, you got Jones and Cook from the Steve Jones and what's his name, from the Sex Pistols. And then you've got Scott Gorham, Philip Lynott, and Ryan Downey on drums from the from Thin Lizzy. So the GREEDIES. This is the only thing they ever released. Just one project on Vertigo Records back in what was it? It's got to be the late '70s. It was it. See, if there's a year in here because I can't remember it exactly. Yeah, if I can find it, I'll put it on the. I'll put it in the notes because I can't remember at all what year this was. Okay, next up, this is they actually released a demo as well, a 2-song demo. But this is the only full-length album that this band ever released. A local band. This is Angelic Force. This is the only album they ever released. This is only format it was ever released in, cassette. I've tried in vain for years to get this thing re-released on the CD. This is just old school galloping heavy metal with female vocals. Not poppy at all, just straightforward, you know, Judas Priest kind of inspired, Iron Maiden inspired heavy metal. And this would have been in the late 80s, 1988, 87, somewhere in that area. And this band actually features Robert Gutierrez on vocals. Robert Gutierrez, of course, being the guy who formed Ultimatum. And as well, although he didn't play on this one, was Steve Trujillo, who also played in Ultimatum, although he played on the second demo and not this full-length album. And then on vocals was Stacy Carrera, and Stacy and Robert actually formed another band after Ultimatum called Blue IV. And they, I don't know if they're still around, but they've been playing the local scene around here for quite a while. So, Angelic Force, the only full-length album they ever released on, let's see, Alta Vista Records, 1988, I believe it was. Let's see, let me show you a few CDs. I got a little bit of everything here. Singles, CDs, vinyl. This is Fear Not, and I love this album. This album was only ever released on cassette and CD. It is coming out shortly on vinyl with new cover art. These guys kind of have a sound. To me, I kind of sound like early Skid Row. You know, the first couple of Skid Row albums kind of has that commercial appeal, but it's also very heavy and got edge to it. That's kind of what it sounds like to me. A lot of people tell me they sound like Slaughter. Again, I think Slaughter has a similar, you know, style, kind of a really heavy edge with clean vocals. This guy's got a little more of a rasp to his voice than the singer from Slaughter. But still, great stuff, hooky stuff. This will be coming out actually on Rox Records, which of course you guys know that I work with, on vinyl end of this year. So it's already at the manufacturing plant, so excited about that one. Canadian, I don't know, heavy metal I'd call them band. Early, you know, 80s hub metal, kind of like early Dokken and that kind of thing. Dagger, I think this band is on Viper Records. Viper was a small sub-label of Attic Records out of Canada, and I think this was like about 1985. Kind of go by the look there. It's got that classic 80s look. Just straightforward heavy metal again. A little more commercial than say the Angelic Force I said earlier. Like I said, more like a Dokken in my opinion. I got a lot here to show because he wanted at least 10, so I've got at least, if not more. Some of these are recommendations too. Matter of fact, all these are recommendations because I'm showing them because I like them. Nothing in here is stuff I don't like. So this is Join the Dead. This is the only thing they ever released, unfortunately, other than they recorded one song that'll be on an up-and-coming 7-inch single, a thrash single. But this is the only album they ever released. This is self-titled, obviously. Thrash band out of, I keep wanting to say San Jose, but that's not right. They're out of California. Can't remember the city off the top of my head for some reason. And I don't see it on here. But anyhow, this features Michael Phillips, who played in a band called Deliverance for a long time, and also Face Down. He played in a metalcore band called Face Down. This is not metalcore. This is pure thrash metal. Fantastic U.S. power metal band whose sound is heavily influenced by the European power metal sound. You know, bands like Halloween. This is INNERSIEGE. This is the only album that they've released so far, and this was years ago. This was 2012, and they haven't released anything since. So as of this time, this is one and done. They had released some demo material, stuff like that, under different names before they came out with INNERSIEGE. But as far as I know, this is the only thing they've released since then. Yeah, Kingdom of Shadows. And this is just, I've shown this before in older videos. If you like well-produced power metal, this is the stuff. It's very, very, very good. This is Norwegian death metal Groms. As far as I know, this is the only thing they've ever released. Ascension, I don't think it was released in any other format except for CD. However, there are two different labels that released this on CD, so there's two different covers, but it's the same album, and it's called Ascension. And this is just that old school death metal stuff that, you know, it wasn't all blast beats. It was more along the lines of like a Death or maybe early Carcass, and I don't know, you know, it's just straightforward death metal, which is the kind of stuff I like. Mortification, Scrolls of the Megaloth, that kind of thing. As far as I know, this Norwegian band didn't release anything else except for this one album. They may have had some demos out, but I don't think they had any other full-length albums. Brazilian thrash metal band, this is DISAFFECTION. Again, they released an independent EP before this. However, that EP was rolled into this one album that was released in the United States on Bombworks. You know, Bombworks Records, and I think it was back in 2010 now. This has been out for quite a while. Yeah, 2010. And this thing hasn't been released in any other format except CD, and as far as I know, they haven't released anything else. I'm not even sure if they're still together. But this is that old school machine gun riffing, thrash metal, you know, inspired by the whole Bay Area scene. Great stuff. I really actually like this record a lot, and played this CD a lot. I said record, it's only available on a CD. Yeah, there's the case. Moving on. U.S. melodic metal band. This is another one I love. This one has been released in two different formats. It's a purple-looking one that was released in the United States independently by the band. This is the Japanese pressing on, I think it was Alta Vista, or let's see, what label was this on? Alpha Music. Alpha Music in Japan. This is Broken Silence. Just very melodic, kind of like in the lines of Seventh Sign or like Queensryche Empire and that kind of stuff, you know. Still has a heavy edge, very melodic, clean singing, hooky songs. That's what you're going to get with this band. And unfortunately, I think this is the only thing they ever released. But if you like that kind of, you know, melodic metal with that big hooks, this is exactly up your alley. Think like, yeah, Queensryche Empire is kind of what it reminds me of, that kind of vibe. This is a great album. This is one that's been released on vinyl, CD, and cassette. But this is the only full-length album that they released under the name Armageddon, as far as I know. I had heard rumors that they got back together and released something. I've never seen it. I don't have it. So, well, I'm going to say this is all they ever released. And if I'm wrong, you know, no big deal. It had been at least 20 years. This was 1990, I think, or 89, 1989. This one was released. It was recorded in 88. This is vicious heavy metal. This is, you know, think some of the heavier, faster Judas Priest songs, like Steeler, and I'm trying to think what else. It's just that straightforward metal sound. These guys are great vocals. Kind of remind me of, who else? Maybe Wild Dogs, kind of in that area. A little heavier than like maybe the Rods, but you know, just that in-your-face, straightforward, get on your bike and ride, heavy metal. But Armageddon, The Money Mask, on REX Records, 1989. This one also will probably be re-released, I'm thinking, next year. I'm not sure if it's on Bombworks or Retroactive, but it's going to be on one of those labels. I kind of got a heads up on that, so I'm giving you guys a heads up on it. What's playing in the background? People often say this band sounds like Queensryche, early Queensryche. I'd liken them more to early ARC era Fates Warning. This is Scarlet, RAYNE, Theater, Humanitarian. Again, just straightforward heavy metal. The high-pitched singing usually gets the Jeff Tate comparisons, but he sounds a little more like John Arc to me, and the music sounds a little more like Fates Warning to me. So it's on a label called Arcane Steel, so that should give you an idea of the music. It's not going to be you know, cheesy pop metal. This is straightforward heavy metal. And if you can hear what's playing in the background, this is them. This has been released on every format, you know, CD, vinyl, cassette. So this is actually a recent reissue, I believe, from 2010. So that's just 7 years ago. This is number 279 of 525. Also have the CD, which is also numbered. But I bought the CD back in the 90s. I think it was actually, that album was actually released in 1990. It says published 1990, copyright 2010, so it must have been 1990 when the album was released. Excuse me. So you got 3 or 4 more here. These are all vinyl. This one, okay, I said all these albums I love and I would recommend. Not so much this one. It's not bad, but it's not high on our priority list. This is Holy Right. Stand is one. It's not bad. It's kind of cheesy, but I kind of like that about it. It's just kind of straightforward 80s heavy metal. You know, is it going to rival the top of the heap? No. Is it good B-grade heavy metal? Yeah, quite good. I like it. I wouldn't call it trash. I know other people have, but I mean, come on, you got. Is that straightforward heavy metal look back then? The tore-up shirts, the ripped-up jeans, the leopard skin tights, and all that kind of stuff. Big poofy hair. I loved that back then. I mean, you know, people now mock it, but I thought it was showmanship, and it was part of the look, part of the sound, part of the era, and I love that about this kind of music. So, anyhow, Holy Right, Stand is one. As far as I know, this is the only album by this band. I did hear again that this band got together and might have recorded something. I don't know. All I have is this one album. This is Cerebus, Too Late to Pray, and this was on the New Renaissance record label back in like 1985 or 86, somewhere in that area. 86. Great album cover art, and again, straightforward heavy metal, shredding guitars. This could have been on Shrapnel with the technical skill that these guitarists have, and great soaring vocals and hooky songs. Just an awesome, straightforward heavy metal record. You know, this is what a lot of these new wave of traditional heavy bands are striving to sound like, and these guys kind of were that sound. It's unfortunate that this is the only full-length album that they've recorded. If it is, if I'm wrong, oh well, I didn't look all this up, so I'm just going off totally by memory. I did hear, like I said, they got back together. Don't know. Same thing with this one. I was just spinning this one the other day. Great record, Screamer, Target Earth. I had this one on CD and vinyl, and again, this is also likened to Queensryche, again, because of the soaring high vocals. But people tend to think Operation Mindcrime, poppy radio, or hard rock metal. No, this is galloping heavy metal. If this is likened to Queensryche, then it's like the EP, you know, Queen of the Reich and that sort of stuff. Lady Wear Black, you know. That's the kind of stuff you're going to get with this Screamer album. And this is not the same Screamer that is out there now as part of the new wave traditional heavy metal movement, who are also a great band. Again, this band supposedly got back together and recorded something and released it 20-some years later. I didn't look it up. Could be true. I don't know. But as far as I know, they did this one album and disappeared into obscurity for at least 25 years. So in my opinion, it counts. One of my all-time favorite releases. I mean, this is literally, if I was to list the top 100 favorite all-time heavy metal releases, this would be up in the top echelon of my list. This is Recon, Behind Enemy Lines. I love this album, love this band. Again, soaring, galloping heavy metal with high, clean vocals, almost touching on speed metal at times and thrash metal with songs like the title cut, Behind Enemy Lines. They're just high-pitched, so killer. I just saw this band play a lot of these songs live at the SoCal Metal Festival. They kind of got back together again and played some songs for Dale Huffman's it was his memorial concert they put together to raise money for his family and the medical bills that they incurred because of, you know, Dale's cancer and whatnot. But anyhow, this band was one of his favorites as well, and they did play, and they played a lot of these songs. A lot of all the same guys except for the vocalist. They had their drummer, their keyboard player, who is actually only listed as an additional musician on here, but Ronson Webster, he sang for them, and oh my gosh, he was fantastic. He just was nailing those high notes, you know, up in the rafters, cracking the glasses kind of high notes, and it was just fantastic. And then at the end, Sacred Warriors vocalist got up there and sang with them for the last 2 songs. Fantastic show from Recon. Highly recommended if you don't know them. This was recently reissued on vinyl. It was originally reissued in 1980, 89, 1990, 1991, somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s. Only in Europe on vinyl, and it was released on CD on Intense Records here in the United States. It was reissued just 2 years ago by Rocks Records on vinyl and CD. Last I'm going to show, and again I didn't double check this one, I think this is their only release. This is the HAGS. If it's not, let us know when I have by them. Now this is completely different from some of the more galloping, soaring heavy metal that I showed you earlier. This would fall more in lines with you know, the Faster Pussycats of the world. That's kind of sleazy, dirty LA heavy metal. That's kind of what you're going to get with these guys. A little bit of a rasp to the voice, a lot of edge, a lot of attitude, a whole lot of fun. That's what they're supposed to be. Yeah, I mean, you kind of get the look in the back here. You know, they got kind of that late 80s, early 90s Guns N' Roses leather and look going on. That's kind of what you're going to get here. And personally, I think it's a very, very good album from them. Very underrated, cool cover art as well. HAGS. So there you go. That's my entry into Black Star Vinyl's. I think he had 50 subs contest. I don't know, 50 or 100 or something like that. Doesn't matter. Soon he'll be up to, you know, 100, 200, 300. And great guy. You'll enjoy his videos as well. If you don't know who he is, I'll put a link below. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this one. If I'm wrong on any of these and they did release other albums, please let me know because I'd love to actually look into those. But either way, ask questions if you don't know these bands, or, you know, leave comments. I love talking to you guys as always. So that's it. Thanks for watching. God bless. Stay strong.